What would happen to humanity if the Earth suddenly stopped rotating? I can't speak for everything, but our age-old way of life working at sunrise and resting at sunset would definitely have to change. For example, imagine a godlike alien civilization suddenly shows up, plays dirty, and just stops the Earth in its tracks. Because of inertia, the atmosphere would keep moving, causing hurricane-force winds around the globe reaching speeds of up to 600 kilometers per hour. Just imagine, you're enjoying hot pot and singing with your friends, when suddenly you're swept up into the sky by the wind, flying at supersonic speed. If you're unlucky and crash into a building that's also been swept up into the sky, you'll be instantly smashed and spread out evenly like dumpling filling. If you're lucky and get blown into the sea, the water might cushion you a bit, so you could at least catch one last glimpse of your beloved lobsters or abalone. But when you're swept out of the water again, you'll still end up evenly spread out, just like dumpling filling that's been soaked in water. In fact, all the mountains, oceans, and buildings would be instantly leveled by powerful wind-shattered stones and roof tiles flying together. The sea indistinguishable from yellow sand. Compared to this, Hiroshima, after the mushroom cloud, the good news is that such winds would only last a few minutes, but the bad news is that no one could survive those few minutes. In this situation, if you can last 10 seconds without falling apart, you can truly call yourself a real man. Everyone would meet the same end, all turning into large organic molecules. There's a book called What Ifs, and its first chapter talks about what would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped rotating. If you're interested, you can check it out. To sum it up, humanity would go extinct, Earth Online would revert to version 1, and only some microorganisms would be left, eating each other. Alright, that's what would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped rotating. That's the end of this video. Thank you all for watching. Oh, just kidding. If the Earth really slammed on the brakes like that, not only would the planet itself not be able to handle it, but neither would people. Those of you who are familiar with me know that Daolong's tall tales always put humans in the starring role. If the main character bites the dust, how am I supposed to keep telling my stories? So, to spare us humans, the Earth's rotation would have to slow down gradually. In the wandering Earth, humanity uses planetary engines and it takes a full 42 years to bring the Earth's rotation to a complete stop. Let's assume this alien civilization also gives Earth 42 years to gradually stop. Once Earth's rotation fully ceases, our 24-hour day-night cycle will be gone. But since Earth's revolution around the sun continues, one day-night cycle would now take a year, so both daytime and nighttime would each last 6 months. The temperature difference between day and night would be several hundred degrees. It would be 1 day per year and 1 year per day. Of course, in this situation, people could live in underground cities like in the movies. But if you say, I can only sleep in my own bed and still want to live on the surface, is that possible? In Daolong's video, of course it is possible. At this point, the daytime side of the Earth would be extremely hot, and the nighttime side would be extremely cold. Neither would be suitable for living, but the boundary between day and night would inevitably have a comfortable temperature, so humans could live within this narrow, habitable zone. And since the boundary between day and night would keep moving, we would have to migrate around the globe along with it. We'd need to build a global train that circles the Earth, similar to the one in the movie Snowpiercer. The difference is that our global train would have to move at the same speed as the boundary, not too fast and not too slow. If we go too fast, we'll be roasted in the scorching daylight ahead. If we go too slow, we'll freeze to death in the darkness behind. Humanity would be forever on the move, always journeying forward, advancing toward the light of dawn. How inspiring is that? This would be much freer than living in underground cities. We'd travel around the world at all times and could see the sunrise anytime, anywhere. Imagine you're sitting on the roof of the train with a girl look ahead and see the sunrise, look back and see the sunset. It's so romantic. Even Tai Yifei wouldn't be able to resist. But the space inside a train is limited, so whether you weigh over 200 pounds or just over 100, you still have to make do with a single bunk. With no private space, you can forget about doing any enjoyable little activities alone. You'll just have to put up with the smell of your roommate's socks that haven't been washed in months, and the grime that falls from the bunk above, just like reliving those distant college dorm days. As for entertainment that requires space, like singing, dancing, rapping, or basketball, that's even more out of the question. Everything will revolve around survival. In addition, the train's compartments are divided into standard, large, and extra-large cabins. Scientists who have contributed to humanity can stay in the large and extra-large cabins, while people like Daolong, who are all talk, will probably have to settle for the standard cabin. You might ask, why isn't there a small cabin? Sorry, we only have standard, large, and extra-large cabins. Since the train is always in the habitable zone and the outside temperature is pleasant, we could sell standing tickets, letting people enjoy the scenery. Compared to those living in underground cities who never see the sun, this is like Qin Shi Huang touching an electric wire. He's won big time. As for food, in the Wandering Earth, people living in underground cities eat dried earthworms, while we, just like in Snowpiercer, can eat protein bars made from cockroaches. The treatment is pretty much the same. Of course, on the train, we could also have some carriages dedicated to raising chickens, ducks, cattle, and sheep. But eating meat would be a real luxury something you'd only get to enjoy on special occasions like holidays. And when you do eat it, you'd have to make it a ritual. Sprinkle some Daolong's signature banana salt, pour in some sizzling hot rapeseed oil, add a bit of vinegar, and mix it all up with a soulful touch, just like Jeezy taught us. If those underground dwellers ever came up to the train and saw how well we were eating, Gowdy would probably rush home and write a new Peach Blossom Spring overnight. But if underground people and surface people were geographically isolated for a long time, after tens of thousands of years, they'd probably develop reproductive isolation and each evolve into different species. Many years later, when surface dwellers stand before the underground people, they'll surely remember that distant afternoon when everyone happily ate raw meat and drank blood together.